consequences of their own choices, freedom to choose, emotional autonomy, and desire for relating, building, and cooperating with others. And this is why I want to share with you a synthesis of what may characterize a mature adult versus a childish adult. This conversation is triggered by the premise that we always need to look at our clients as mature adults, as people who can be or is autonomous, responsible for whatever they are facing, and committed to what matters most to them, beyond their blind spot or their incompetence. Our challenge is to get them see themselves like this, or to get there in the coaching process. Paraphrasing existentialist philosopher Martin Buber, we may consider that human beings stage judgment particularly in three domains of our existence: the relationship to the self, the relationship to others, and the relationship to the world, the universe, or life, or maybe God to others. And based on this classification, we may distinguish the characteristic of childish adult and a mature adult, and then focus on the creation of our relationship to the client, trusting in who he is as a possibility, and being present to that possibility, even when the own client is blind to it. Very active listening to his behaviors and ways of looking and his life, and giving him access to observe and recover his power, and freedom. Considering the relationship to the self, we may pose the following distinctions, and in order to do it clearer, I want to ask Elena or Hali if you can help me to read. I want to read the childish position, and I want to ask you, I don't know, Elena, if you are there, if you can hear me. If you can read after me, if you can read the...
I'm here.
Okay, I will read the first one, the childish adult, and I ask you to read for me the mature adult, and it will be, I think, better, okay?
You need to make this slide smaller, Marco.
Okay.
You can't see the text on the bottom.
Let me just a minute. That is better?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. Okay, childish adults believe they can do anything, or that they should be able to do anything.
An adult renounced to which is beyond their limits with peace of mind.
Okay. A childish adult quit their life, do stuff that do not satisfy them or make them suffer.
An adult lives in self-respect, caring for themselves with excellence and love.
A childish adult live in lack, in the need to fill the gaps, in dissatisfaction.
An adult feels complete with them, feels satisfied by their achievements.
And this point is very important to say, because dissatisfaction, it has a lot to be with our standards. When we don't declare standards, we live in dissatisfaction. And this is very important at this moment of the conversation. I don't know if you can see this, or is too big. Okay, childish adult live by mandates, by the ought to be, say to themselves, I am worthless.
An adult has self-esteem, aims at transcending in their way of being and in the roles they perform.
Okay. In their inner conversation, a childish adult say, I am the consequence of my circumstances.
And an adult says, I am the source of my actions and results.
Considering the relationship to others, we may pose the following distinctions. The childish adult depends emotionally on someone else.
Adults are emotionally autonomous.
And we have to recognize at this point in our relationship with our clients, because a lot of time, and this is more common in therapy, I think, in my experience, people become emotionally dependent from our work or our presence to do something or create new results. And this is one of the point that difference the working psychologist and the work in coaching. Okay, childish adult tend to say yes, looking for approval, being nice, being at the center of the stage.
And an adult can say no when necessary, even if it is uncomfortable.
Good. Childish adults talk without pause, are repetitive, unable to listen themselves or others.
Adults listen generously.
I guess you have a few examples in your life from people that is like this. Childish adult love unconsciously, live in love, and then feel disappointed.
Adults love consciously, creating agreements, taking precautions.
And here we can talk a lot and share a lot about the difference between unconditional love and a kind of love when we can create agreement and taking precaution. That is very important, not only to build love, but to build trust. That is basic in a relationship. Okay, and considering the relationship to the world, we may remark these ones. Childish adult live complaining about everything.
Adults live in gratitude for everything.
And a childish adult live pretending to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can.
Yes, I see. And live in harmony with life as it develops.
Okay, the important thing here is the emotion that is working in this situation, in this dynamic, is the fear, because control is the response we have when we feel as a primary emotion fear. It's a reaction. Okay, sorry, I lost the animation. Okay, here we are. Childish adult react with desperation or suspicion when something is unexpected.
And an adult takes a stand for their values and desires, regardless of the circumstances. Act consistently.
A childish adult live in resentment for the past and in resignation for the future.
Adults live in serene ambition.
And this is important because people most of the time believe that serene ambition couldn't be a mood because it's like a contradiction, but we feel that looking at the past and looking at the future. When we are in peace with our past, we can feel serenity, and we can feel this enthusiasm for the future when we are open to new possibilities. Childish adults live with anxiety because of the chance to have their expectations not fulfilled.
And an adult live with completely trust, even before uncertainty. Believe in the living process.
And this is the last one. To me, maybe one of the more important, because childish adults create followers to feel valued and powerful.
Adults create leaders with freedom and autonomy to become source of changes and possibilities for the world.
And maybe you have a few examples of this one that, and I think it's a very important issue to discuss. How can we create leaders, not followers? This reflection is not a complete version, is just a beginning. It does not pretend to be a manual or of characterizations or to be used to diagnose people or condition or dysfunctionality. It is more like a map, a guideline to use as the basic to create and increases conscience and intimacy with our clients. And in this way, we can give him access to a life with more freedom and wisdom. And I want to know something about what is this conversation triggering on you, or what do you think? I will stop share screen and we can, if you want, share something for a little. Yes.
I'll share. It's seeing some parallels with other models that I'm sure we all have different models for similar things, but you're using a very emotion-based language for it, which is great. So it's like a childish adult might compare to another system in somebody who has a victim mentality versus a mentality of responsibility. And, this isn't a one-size-fits-all, like they're always in all of that childish adult phase. Like sometimes they would be a mature adult in certain situations, in other situations that you described, they would take on a more childish adult mentality. And so sort of trying to reflect where they might be coming from is a useful tool to see if that is where they want to be coming from or if they want to make a different choice. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting way to look at it.
Okay, let me see something about it. I think the important thing here is the primary emotion is connecting us to action. And when we are in these emotions, we can just believe in the living process because we are connected with the expression of our feelings. And secondary emotions are very complicated because all of the inside situation is trying to avoid take a commit. And when we are trying to avoid take a commitment, but we are saying, I want to commit, I want to do something, I want to change, but I'm feeling that I can't do that, and I can't say this contradiction, I can't put it in public. that is the situation that the emotion is opposite of my idea or my declaration of future. And I think, as you just said, that we are always in different emotions because the emotions always come as a system. They live in family. An example could be, let me just find an example for you, but for example, you can see that when we are angry with someone and we do something that is trying to do something bad for another one to make justice. After that, a lot of time we feel guilt. We go inside this feeling that is trying to put us in a new situation, that is take responsibility for what I did to the other person. And okay, if you see at this moment, fear is coming after guilt, because now I have this fear that you will leave me because I was angry, and now I'm feeling guilty, and my guilty is telling me that you are leaving the relationship, and it doesn't stop there. But if you see a system, not just an emotion, you can see we are always in two positions and changing the position in between childish or between mature adults. This is important because we are adults. We can try not to use our maturity, but we are adults. Our clients are adults, and we have to we have to trigger this part of their self, ourself, in the relationship. And this is, in one conversation, you can see all of this several times. Because we are avoiding, we are resisting, we are taking responsibility, and after that we lose the trust that in the process or in the coach or in myself, and I'm going again in a victim position. It's very important to us to be focused in the possibility the coachee is, more than the way they do something or they express their feelings. Secondary emotions are learned expressions. We can change it. Of course, we can do it. But we need a very, very powerful context based in intimacy. We need intimacy, and we need a lot of trust in the person that is talking or is helping me. Because most of the time, we can see the possibility as a coachee, as a client. Thank you, Hali. Thank you.
May I say something, Hali?
Yeah, of course.
Marco, I am feeling triggered by your conversation. Because I think that with different words, you are giving an explanation, and very interesting explanation, at least for me, for understanding new possibilities of understanding our clients. Because lots of times we ask questions like, okay, you are talking about something that is very sad for you and you are smiling. Now I can understand and put the word that that's a secondary emotion. I didn't know it before. And yes, it's also related to this thing of looking for what makes you smile. And lots of times people can't explain that. And another times, I think that we get hooked and we can't see it in the client because it has also to do with us. I am every day more concerned about myself. And I know this is a work that I will never finish, but if you are paying attention to yourself when you are coaching, you can always find part of you said in the other or showed in the other. Do you think that we are in the same channel if I am saying what I'm saying? And sorry if I am trying to bring your conversation to what I know.
I think it's just like you said. To me, we never stop. We can't. We must to continue our personal process. I think the maturity or the childish, they are not things, are positions. We are inside a movement when we are there. And I think we can show our clients these two positions. We can read them, this chart with them, and give them the possibility to see themselves and try to make their own assessment about it. But I think we build this inside a relationship. We are not a childish or an adult. We are a childish or an adult in some relationship. We can see that we are very mature with some persons and we are very childish with another one because the mood changed because our conversations, our inner conversations changed. But the challenge here is try to put ourselves in the same level in all of our main domains of our life, in the personal domains, in our work with our clients. We have to embrace our freedom, and we can't be freedom when we are in this kind of emotions that are so are limiting our space. Maybe guilt is one of the worst because we lose the contact of ourselves. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, and I understand perfectly well that. Thank you, and it's also a conversation for watching ourselves. Also, thank you.
Thank you, Elena. I don't know if someone else wants to share something. What is triggering this conversation to you?
I'll do.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Well, what I listened from you, I completely agree. And while listening to your conversation with Elena, when you were putting it into the child, adult, and the adult, I was experiencing feeling emotions. There were a lot of ups and downs, and I was realizing, and I will trust all this audience, I was telling to myself, oh, I'm a child adult. And at the same time, it was triggered in my awareness also my mind speaking, my consciousness speaking to me, my inner why speaking to me, and trying to relieve me from that self-punishment I was doing to myself. And I just realized that I was my child adult speaking with the adult I want to be. And I didn't want to put it into my clients and just to focus on myself to accomplish the walk the talk philosophy. And I would like to ask you if you can share something about transition in emotions, and I will explain myself about it. Transition in emotions to me is like when you are captured in an emotion. For example, it could be anger or rage or any one of those emotions, and suddenly you experience that, you go into it, you feel it, and suddenly it becomes different. So it can goes to sadness, and you can stay there in sadness. You're in pain, down, you hit the ground, you feel bad, but at a certain time you need to stand up, and then you don't feel any more sad and you feel different. So I would like you to share with us your experience about this process of transition of emotions, experience of transition of emotions, if you can.
Okay. Thank you, Siraj. I hope I have enough English to give you your answer, the answer you deserve. But I really appreciate when you said that you have to work with yourself before and after try to put all of this in the relationship with your clients, because it's a mature adult talking. And thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
I can promise you that in a childish position, we are always in a secondary emotions. That is the very important thing here. And when you are talking about transition, and I can tell you that is the very important thing here is going to secondary emotions to primary emotion, or find which is the primary emotion behind the secondary emotions, more than the transition, because this is a game. It's a game, and we are playing a game. We are sustaining two positions, different positions, trying to show something and trying to put outside the picture other thing, other emotion, other situation. More than a transition, that is a play that my inner conversation said something like, I want or I need you to see me like this, but not to see me like that. And more than a transition is a very, very difficult job. We are always working a lot to sustain this image of ourselves. And the very important thing here is trying to see if our body and our movements and our if we can connect the expression of our body with the emotion we said that we are having. Because a lot of time it's a contradiction. I'm saying that I'm very, very good, but I'm crying, or I have this face, I could not smile, or I'm tense. And it's very, very common, find a secondary emotion express, trying to put it in the place of the primary emotions. And we need a conversation in there because emotions are very contagious. And you can feel if I am in a secondary emotion, and you can feel it because you feel like you have this doubt about me. You are not sure if his primary emotion is like clear. It's like this. You can see that and you see, yes, of course, that is fear. Yes, that is sadness. Yes, this person is joining something. But when you are in a secondary emotion, it's very, very different. The situation is you need to observe more and try to listen more. And it's a very important thing because we work with the people commitment, but we have to say now that you can take a commitment as a primary emotion, or you can take a commitment as a secondary emotion. And I can promise you, if our clients take a commitment as a secondary emotion, we will fail. We will, that will be not true.
They will fail.
Yeah, but we in the process, in the coaching process, because it's our responsibility to show them, okay, I think you are not giving me nothing here, or you are not you are not being honest, or something. We have to open the conversation when we find this contradiction. We need to do that because the client, most of the time, if he is in a childish position, he is trying to have and give us this good image, trying to us to believe that he is brilliant or smart, or he's beyond circumstances, or beyond pain, or beyond sadness. I think it's a very important issue because this is a thing that we have to learn as coaches. We have to improve our listening, our capacity to recognize when a client is blind to a secondary emotion. Most of the time, they are not lying. They are not liars. They are blind. They couldn't recognize the difference between primary and secondary emotion, and they don't know what are they feeling truly. I don't know if I'm clear to you, Siraj, or everybody.
Yes, to me it's crystal clear what you are expressing. And that raises a challenge. That raises a challenge. And I would like to share that challenge with all the audience, because as you know, when you go to the first coaching core competency and you say, what are coaching standards? And you say coaching is a process, it's partnering with clients in thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their potential, personal or professionally. And then you go there and you find that, okay, the conversation should focus on the future, should be inquiring, exploring in the future about the person. And then we find in the definition that we should not go to the past, we should not go emotionally, to avoid emotional exploration, no? Which could be considered like therapy or psychotherapy.
I don't have emotion as past-based. It's very present.
Yeah. I think what was expressed in the competency, while you go to the past, you can trigger emotion, or you don't go emotionally. So what's your opinion about that?
I have an opinion about that. But
I remember 2007, I was in Long Beach in the global coaching conference of the ICF, and I spoke with the keynote speaker. And he told me, you know, when you come to the corporate world and you say, I'm going to speak about emotions, you find a cold, closed door. But when you go and you tell them, okay, I'm come to speak about emotional intelligence, then they tell you, come in. You can go in and try to explain us what we have to do with our staff and how they feel and how they emote and all that stuff. So I think that with emotion, I have always the same sensation. It's something so human, it's so present, it's so important in our lives, and it drives so much our life. And all of a sudden, we feel like paralyzed when we get to speak about it. And that's why I'm experiencing right now here.
Okay, may I say something, Ali?
Yeah, go for it.
I always say, because I was involved in that kind of conversation, Siraj, probably because I am an old woman working in coaching for a lot of years. And at the beginning, talking about emotions was like not in the rational part that was evoked in coaching. But every time I am more conscious that we cannot say that emotions go from one place and body goes through the other place and language goes through the other place and thinking is coming from another place. Human beings are a whole. So every word that you say sparks in a part of your body, and emotions are absolutely related not only with your past, also with your present and with your future. And I also think that emotions, and I don't know if Marco thinks the same or wants to add something. I want to say that emotions, lots of times, are the door where you can get into the way of observing the world by the coachee or the client and assist in creating a new version of themselves, a new observer. So how can you leave emotion aside? I think it's impossible. So I pass now this to whoever wants.
Yeah, I would like to say something. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this is Marian. This is Marian Franklin. So when I teach coaching, what I explain to the students is that we can't dwell on emotions because then it does go into therapy, but it doesn't mean that we ignore emotions, because in the end, when the client comes to us with any situation, there's some kind of emotion behind it. And by the end of the conversation, our hope is, unless it's, some joy or glee, but if they're in conflict or struggling or stuck in something, that by the end of the conversation, technically, we're changing whatever that emotion is. So whether it's fear or whether it's disappointment or whatever. And so we're not going to dwell on it, but we can touch upon it. We can name it, whether it's sadness or disappointment or whatever it is. And then from there, look at how it's impacting the client at this moment in time and then moving forward. So I don't know if that helps at all, but it's all about not dwelling in them.
Thank you.
This is Nadine. I just wanted to go further with this. I think emotions are an amazing tool to use as leverage and help our clients move, get into motion, and so on.
Thank you, Nadine.
This is Deborah Wardell. I agree with you. I think emotion is actually a skill set, if you know how to use it well as a coach, to help our clients transition from where they are to where they dream to be. I often equate it with, you know, I have corporate clients that say, I only want to work on my professional life. And I always say, that's fine, we can do that. Kind of like, I don't want to touch on any emotions, but when you get a cold, do you only get a cold at home, or does it go to work with you? When you have a feeling, do you only have a feeling in your personal life, or does it go to work with you? So I think emotions are a powerful tool to be implemented by coaches.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, Mark, we have to, I just want everybody starting to get going with their conversation. We have to close this, down. Annette, do you want to close us off and thank Marco and all that, everyone out for being here?
I would love to. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Marco. That was it was really nice to watch and to feel the emotion of our participants and how they bring, you know, emotions to the coaching world and with their coachees. And it looks to me and sounds to me like the conversation can continue. So how we'll do that is our next steps, I guess. And to everybody else, just a reminder that we still have openings for our ACTO conference happening next month, starting with the pre-conference Wednesday, May 6th until Saturday, May 9th, happening in Orlando, Florida. If you'd like information, you can find that on actoonline.org. Thanks again, Marco. That was interesting. I think people were it was a little bit, the emotion was there, so to watch and to see it sort of unfold as the conversations happened was quite interesting. The emotions were there.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I think that was a very, very beautiful conversation, and I hope we will continue with this conversation in the future.
Thank you, Marco.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Siraj. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.